Hello, good morning. This is Reddy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Grady.
Good morning, Pankaj.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Manoj.
Hey, Reddy.
Hello.
Welcome back. Good morning. All right. I was a couple of minutes late. Okay, let me share my screen and we can get into the agenda. Let's give maybe a couple of more minutes. Okay, is everybody seeing CMS meeting agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know. For me, this meeting shows up at 9:05. Does it show up at 9:05 or 9 o'clock for everybody? 9 o'clock.
It is 9.
9. Okay. All right. I think it's just my internal calendar that I have for 9:05. Okay, then we can get started. So I had 3 things on agenda. We continue just to review where we are on the global OCP planning for global submissions and innovation village demos. Mohan from India, HPE, and Brian have been working on a workshop in India for fabrics for HPCI, and they would like to talk about it and see how CMS can participate and help there. Follow up on CGET submission. I don't know if Mohammed is here. Sorry. Let me just see. CGET had a presentation last week, so I wanted to see if there is any follow-up that we had from that meeting. Anybody from CGET online today? All right. Okay. So if you get time, we can talk about that. Any other agenda item for us to talk about?
I was hoping to talk about my contest today.
Oh yes, so sorry. Yes, I knew I was thinking about something I'm missing.
All right, thanks.
Yes, I forgot to put it in the agenda item. That's why I missed it. Okay.
And Manoj, we in our work stream we have an update on the first agenda item.
Okay, sure. So this is going to be performance publication contest. I forgot actually how we had put it. Brian?
Oh, I was just gonna call it like a memory tearing contest.
Memory tearing contest. Okay. Contest. Okay.
You can let the marketing people come up with a better name later.
Yeah, of course. Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, this is very good. Very good. All right. Any other Pankaj? I think I missed what is. I think you're saying that you'll cover content in the under the first agenda item.
Yeah, just quick update.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's see if Mohammed joins. Then he can talk about that because he had questions about how does it take the work forward. So we want to talk about that. Let's see if he joins. If not, also anyway, some of you guys who missed it, we can talk about that also. All right. With that, let's get into the agenda. Going over the global OCP submissions. This innovation. So I was thinking instead of panel, because OCP always has a challenge when you call something as a panel or have more than 3 people on the same presentation. So I was thinking, like we had done last time, we will separate out the 3 submissions from Meta, Microsoft, and Uber. Is Vikrant online? Oh, Vikrant had a conflict today.
Yeah. No, that
Oh,
was
it
last
is
week.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was
That was last
out
week.
for the
Okay.
past 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So Vikrant, you're thinking, we'll submit independently. If you're still cool with, this is the end user requirement, not the composable workloads part for the AI HPC systems. I put it there because that's what we had done last time. And we also had VMware. I don't know whether we have VMware representation now. But any other end user representation will be also good if somebody would like to submit something, just to kind of, because we have a good representation from general hyperscaler side, and if there is anybody from the enterprise side, also have views, and also HPC side, if anybody has presentation, that will be good and round it off. But I'll put abstract, and Samir is online. I'll talk to Samir, and essentially we're going to perhaps use some of the content from the tech day, but we'll put it in the context of our company requirements. Okay, and on the composable workloads, I see various topics. I'm assuming they are going to be independent submissions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how they will package it or how the agenda is going to shape up for the conference, but at least from a submission standpoint, we'll submit independent abstracts. I know last time we clubbed all of them in a single white paper. I mean,
Yeah,
that's more of a packaging exercise, but at least we'll get everything submitted.
Yeah. Last time what happened was actually looking at the number of submissions that we had, they asked CMS group to really just get a whole room and then plan the agenda total together. So Reddy, me, and CMAC also had helped as IC representative to get the overall agenda where we can get maximum representation either in the CMS room or in the CXL forum and try to accommodate, or the FTS. We'll try to do the same thing when we get there, I guess. Depends on how much agenda we get.
Yeah, just present individually though. I mean, we will figure out the, Vikrant, it makes sense for you to just, submit whatever makes sense, as opposed to actually worrying about the, overlap and all that stuff. That will happen later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One point, Manoj, you used the phrase CXL forum. Since that forum is not sanctioned by CXL Consortium, its name has changed to Memory Fabric Forum.
Oh, I see. I didn't know. Okay, that's good to know.
So it is essentially the same cast of characters and topics. Name has changed.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. All right. So it looks like basically for the composable workloads, we have good amount of content. We'll get at least 3 presentations in the HPC. Reddy, are you maybe same thing about the tech day that what you had done? Perhaps you may have a reuse of that content, I guess, for the DC memory fabric that you're going to submit.
Yeah. So I want to submit actually 2 different talks. One is the fabric orchestration piece. The other one is actually the tiering. OS tiering. It's a refresh from it's basically internals, right? So how the tiering is done. Most likely it'll be host-based, server-based tiering. I'm still thinking about whether I have enough insights into do the GPU-based tiering too, but I may cover that too.
Okay. So you may have some title, but essentially maybe based host.
Those 2 talks is what, those are the 2 I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, I should avoid using GPU.
Oh, you can do GPU. I'm just being generic.
I know. I need to be generic. Yeah. I will do the write-up early next week and then
Okay.
send it to a couple of folks for review, including you, Manoj.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Pankaj, I think you had update here.
Yeah, Manoj, so we discussed this in the team.
Mhm.
We did not have ARM attendance. For some reason, ARM attendees have been missing for a few weeks. They must be
Okay.
busy. But we have already had in CMS and in the CXP team presentation by John Ermis and Matt Bromwich. So we are going to encourage them to submit an abstract if they want to
Okay.
do that. And then we are hoping that we can invite STXI and key academic people like Gwangsun Kim from Korea and the entire team that worked with Namsung Kim on computational memory programming to the we are thinking of it as joint panel, but like you just recommended, that will have to be independent submissions from those sides. Okay. But what we want to do is have a common discussion on people who are looking at it from a future technologies perspective. And Pecan said that he will discuss with Namsung Kim and make a determination by today. So I don't know if Pecan is here today. We also discussed a proposal from MIPS and Durgesh and decided that it still is in, their data is still in preparation. So they should try for the Innovation Village deadline rather than this deadline, the speaker deadline, because we just haven't had a chance to review their data ahead of the submission deadline, and we won't. They don't think they'll be ready. So they are going to try for Innovation Village. And then Gaurav also had a proposal from Marvell, which we will discuss on Tuesday. That's Marvell's NDP work that they will report on Tuesday. So that's currently it's looking like, 4, right? Because that's how it will pan out.
And I think Durgesh, I saw he was online. Durgesh, you had some thoughts on the near memory computing as a separate presentation, or it's part of the same discussion? Durgesh, you online? That I saw him for a second. All right. Okay, something to maybe you can. I see it dropped. I think maybe.
Hey, this is David from ARM. I think there's maybe something wrong with the invites. I'll follow up with you separately. I've been on calls where nobody shows up. So I think maybe something is lost in calendar translation.
I see. So this is where now everybody just basically making sure. This is the calendar that we are using just to be making sure, because I know I had issue before, and this has one joint Zoom meeting. So I'm wondering if there is some kind of a old calendar entry hanging out somewhere.
I think so. I fell into that trap this morning as well. So I think it's in the main calendar where you go to see all the events for the month. Where
that one, the server calendar.
The main server calendar, I think, where
gosh,
it was still a stale pointer.
Okay, I'll update it. So this one seems to be something. Okay, here.
Where is it pulling from?
I don't know where it is, but I can go and edit it, I'm sure.
Correct, but there is a duplicate. Let me see here.
Yeah, this is
the correct one.
T09. This is, it seems correct.
Yeah, it's right.
Okay, but if you can find out what you have in your calendar and send it to me.
It's the one below it, right? Like if you see there are multiple entries there, there's composable memory.
Yeah.
I think that's
I don't know what. Maybe somebody may
CSM
have
is, yeah, cloud service
CSM
model.
is different.
CSM, yeah.
Yes,
Maybe that's the confusion.
that's the confusion. That really.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. All right.
Good one.
Okay. That's a good one then. Okay, cool. All right. Maybe something to just maybe send out an email and send it out saying, okay, don't, that's confusion. Okay. I'm going back to our global OCP. Okay, I think that we covered then Pankaj for computer programming. So independent present submissions, that's a goal. And I think if you have anything demo, then that demo would be for the innovation village. Okay. Brian, I don't know whether we have anything there to present. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's more like a panel or a I know you don't like panels. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. But I was
No,
thinking...
panel is fine. I think I misspoke. What I meant to say, basically more than 3 people on the stage is something people worry about, but you can propose a panel.
Or I could do a lightning round. I mean, that was kind of the original.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. When you're considering this question, panel or presentation, please think about the audience. What do you want the audience to get out of it? Do you want kind of conversation goes in their ear and maybe they stay or not? Or do you want them to take something with them? Presentation, blogs, articles? What do you want it to be stuck in their brains when they leave?
Yeah, the thing is, on top of that, right, CMX comments, see, the panel is something that, a topic that essentially makes sense for communicating where things are, where trend is, where the trends are and all that stuff. I mean, if you're interested in actually communicating the technical details, panel is not the right place.
Right. The panel could be at the end of the conference. You pull things
some
together,
meta themes.
Next steps and kumbaya, get together, let's do something.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, academic research, Brian, this is my input and it's up to you on what you want to do, is I think if you can actually take maybe a couple of 2 or 3 different emerging themes and then maybe pick those topics and submit them, that will be good.
Yeah, it would be something like a compressed version of what we did at CMS Tech Day.
Yeah, exactly. And they're very good. I mean, that's why I'm emphasizing that technical session makes perfect sense. They're very good technical content, right?
It might be a good idea. I don't know. Just kind of provide a summary also, maybe. That may
summary
be
is fine too. Yeah. You could essentially have maybe you provide a summary and maybe 1 or 2 invited speakers to click down on that. That is also fine if you prefer just one submission.
Sure.
I know it is a lot of work. I do realize for all of us, but that would be my request.
Sure, I can do that. I mean, I don't need to discuss it here. I understand what you're saying. So yeah, I was thinking it's more helpful to the younger professors to do, bring them to do kind of like a lightning round style things, but overview plus extra presentations, lightning round style things, I think would be the best thing to do.
That is awesome, of course. But again, please consider a lightning round as a complement to something else. That's wonderful. If they have poster sessions or if they have already presented a paper somewhere else, that's good. But if you invite somebody, they spend a lot of money and time, come over there and have only 5 minutes of exposure, that's kind of overhead.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could take it offline. I mean, it basically goes down to how much time is available, right? And so if it's 20 minutes, then it's like overview plus 1 presentation. If it's 40 minutes, it might be overview plus 2 or 3, right? So that's kind of what it's really the time allotment. So
yeah, I wouldn't actually, shy away from submitting multiple of them.
I see. Okay.
So you don't have to stick to one.
Okay.
You can take 3 different themes and say, 3 different submissions.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, but Brian, maybe one comment would be is that so you probably want to have a notion of what is the starting point, right? Which is it's been around for a few years, so you definitely want to focus on areas where you can make certain assumptions regarding awareness and knowledge base of the audience probably by this time, right? So it is like really moving the ball forward. Like it's a question is like what assumptions you want to make about awareness of the topic amongst the audience is the question, right? Yeah.
Okay. We could take it offline, but yeah, okay.
One comment about splitting the topics into multiple sessions. There are a lot of abstracts coming for these sessions these days. 2, 3, 4 years ago, we didn't have that case, but nowadays we do. Therefore, the program committee has to decide what goes and what gets combined and what is left behind. So maybe you can help them out by not distributing too many, because they will have to recombine them anyway, and your insight in recombining them is more valuable. So use the balance.
Hey, I'm going to move a little bit now. CMS interconnects and connectivity. I think this could be a good panel for a discussion if somebody is ready to step up for coordinating that work and getting that, because I think the topics are wide and large. And it's more of a discussion.
So
we
should definitely have this. Yeah, this is a very good one. Yeah.
So if somebody wants to raise a hand for,
I will take care of this. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. What the coordinate, not coordinate. Share the panel. I forgot what the wording would be, but
yeah. No worries, Manoj. Yeah. Got it.
Right. So you then we can work on the abstract and submit it. But I think this will be a good discussion topic.
Right.
We can make it colorful also. But we need to get some more representation on this.
Yeah,
right.
I will take care of getting the right folks. Yeah. Okay. I will get them. Right.
Okay, perfect. Memory technology, I think CMAC, this is a separate submission you're thinking right now?
Hello.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
I just
small.
I had just taken it down. I don't know whether I put it in the right place or not, but I remember CMS memory technologies. In general, memory technology doesn't have to be CMS necessarily.
Sorry, this is Ryan. You calling from InnoLight. I'm kind of new here, but I had some discussion with CMAC yesterday. Actually, another short-reach optics within OCP. So I'm just shout out here if needs support for the interconnect session on optics. I'd like to volunteer to support that.
Okay.
That's very good, but let's have separate items. Memory technologies and such different from interconnect for memory. So they both deserve their own attention.
So we may want to add another topic here at the bottom if you have access to this sheet. But as CMX suggests, I think it deserves its own submission. I agree with that. Sorry, Samak, I just I had put your name on the memory technologies. Maybe it was in the context of that.
Yes, that's fine. I will coordinate with other smart people. That's good. And one point about what we just talked about interconnects. Anytime that we demonstrate collaboration, either across projects, across work streams, or across companies, they are all very valuable for OCP summit presentations.
Yeah, I agree. And we have very good multiple submissions that are talked here. I'm going to remove this given the so many things we have. I don't think we'll do invited speech. Okay. I think we have plenty of content. The key thing to remember is basically next week is again, I hope I'm the right on now this time. Next week is the deadline. June 21st. So let's make sure that we submit it before that.
Hey Manoj, I hate
Yeah.
to sound like a broken drum, but in every meeting I'm reminding that the submissions from memory vendors and representation of Micron, Hynix, and Samsung is really key in memory related work. So I would like to have a better sense of what are the main topics coming from the memory companies in the workshop, and then build around that if possible at all. But at present, we don't have that. That's not how it's going so far.
I mean, we have presentation from SK Hynix, Samsung, and Micron. Yeah, we have.
So,
and Seagate.
Manoj, I was saying that the abstracts need to start coming in with the idea of so column C, if we could get a little bit of population of column C by a little bit ahead of 21st, that would be good. Like even one sentence about what are you planning to cover.
It will be good to get it here. That I agree. Well, by the way, just keep in mind also that we are doing a little bit of extra work to make sure that things are smooth for OCP. Normally, this would be the submissions will go directly to OCP,
right?
Whichever committee it goes, and then it comes back to us. So we're trying to save work for us as well as for inputting the more coordinated effort to get the submissions into OCP. But I agree. I see your point. And so if we can get those abstracts as people are submitting and populate it here, we'll get visibility.
And David, that from an ARM point of view in the computational programming, you guys already did the work. So I don't want to put in a one sentence abstract for your presentation, but just wanted to let you guys know that if you want to present in the session, from our side, you are having presented it, and with people having liked it, it's a go. So you guys can populate your short abstract. That will be good.
Understood.
And I think Reddy, just to see innovation, I think looks like we got one entry coming in. I think another entry that Pankaj had talked about for which demo was this? I forgot actually. From Pecan, I'm assuming. For Innovation Village.
No, it was MIPS actually, Manoj.
MIPS, okay, actually, I see. Okay.
So that's still, they will decide depending on how their results are going. They will wait for a later deadline.
Yes, and I'm assuming Reddy also last week Seagate made a presentation about their system, and I'm assuming that appliance memory appliance.
Right.
Will come up here. So Mohammed perhaps.
Yeah. We should add that one. Yeah, I'll let Mohammed know.
And then I'll check with Nara if Meta is planning to have another platform there.
Okay. I know Pecan is planning, so I don't know he hasn't added that in. Yeah.
Okay, so we have some time for Innovation Village, so it's okay, but just looks like it's moving forward. Okay, let me move on the agenda. I know it's almost 9:30. I want to make sure that unless anything else on the Innovation Village that you wanted to cover, Reddy, that we missed.
No, I haven't seen. Yeah, I think we're probably folks are still trying to figure.
Yeah. We need to just pull form the last time. Is that what you're thinking? I think, right?
Right.
And see who are going to have a refresh.
Yeah, I need to respond to that email and reach out to those folks.
Reddy, you did say, right, that 3 weeks, 4 weeks before OCP, it's still okay and you can accommodate in the Innovation Village, right? If people have late results. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's how the elephants will be. We have some summer project and we want to report at the end of the summer project.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. We can figure that out. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let me stop sharing. Brian, did you want to talk about memory tiering contest?
Oops, sorry, let me take myself off mute.
Okay.
So sure, I can start now. Now I'm just going to through this really quickly because this has a definite chance of rattling into a longer discussion, and we can take it offline and have that discussion a later time. But it is very expedient. So a number of us in the industry have been approached by some people about trying to start, is there a way we could have a memory tiering contest for this targeted at CXL 2.0 systems, and whether or not that's intersectable at OCP Global Summit this year. So I've been thinking a little bit about it. Pekon, who, just so you know, Pankaj, Pekon is off today. And I have been talking about it and trying to come up with some way, whether or not this is even feasible to do. So given, where we're at right now, I think, we'll give it a college try, because I think there's a bunch of benefits that we have if we do this kind of thing, but we'll see if we can actually get this done. But the idea is basically that, with all the advent of TPP and whatnot, and there's, other things that you're going on, as you saw at CMS Tech Day as well, and both in industry and academia, people are trying to come up with various ways to have applications, OS hardware interact with CXL devices to try to make the overall experience of using CXL more amenable, or, perhaps even make for better performance. So the goal of this contest, and again, the rules aren't written yet, so we're just I'm doing a lot of hand waving here, to build a contest that allows people to use CMS composable systems workloads to be able to drive a hardware OS configuration, perhaps with some FPGA help, to improve workload performance with CXL memory systems. Some of the things that are going on right now in terms of academia are there, as well as industries. Some people are trying to look at things. Well, are there more efficient ways to do it? Because perhaps some of the ways that we're gathering memory counters are expensive, and let's figure out a way to do some of these gathering of information efficiently for doing page access or data access level controls, as well as the movement of said page. Now this is kind of just all sort of in flux now, but there's kind of possibility of having two divisions. One is where people can decide whatever hardware they want and put in the thing, and this is the configuration that they test, as opposed to a closed division where the overall hardware configuration is a little more specified. Have both, for example, industry person might like an open division because they have resources available to build the system they want, whereas someone in academia may be more budget restricted or hardware restricted, such that there would be a prescribed hardware configuration, and that maybe there's some way we can provide through Colo or other means a system that they can kick the tires on, and then eventually do some performance work and using these workloads and things like that. I think there's lots of benefits to doing this, and this is one of the main reasons I'm doing it. I think there's intercept with a lot of the work that Vikrant is doing, and Vikrant and I had a brief discussion about this yesterday, and that how can we make sure that people are starting to use these workloads, and the contest would be a way for us to highlight the CMS composable workloads work, as well as demonstrate their utility. And not only that, if we do have a closed division contest, then we kind of are talking about what a CXL configuration might look like. This is one of the things that Mahesh Wad talked about, a year and a half ago now, I think it was, maybe even longer ago, about what do we kick the tires on for CXL 2.0 devices, and by having a closed division, we kind of move in that direction. And as well as there's an academic intercept too. And the other thing that I'm considering is that maybe there's an additional workload. Maybe we start with the composable memory systems workload, but we allow them to throw in one new workload that perhaps we haven't even considered yet, and use that as perhaps an opportunity to bring in another workload, whether it be HPC, genomics, whatever it is, into the fray of possible workloads that might be integrated into the composable workloads with extremes. Now, I think this is a fairly ambitious thing to do it in the time frame that we have. there's lots of ways that this could go, but if people have an opinion about it, I would say that, we need to keep it as simple as possible, and we're not going to be perfect. But we need the flexibility to try to do things, but be very in mind to keep it simpler, but to try to meet, the deadline of having something done at OCP Global Summit. So this is just kind of a timeline that I had in mind, just to kind of, it's not written in stone, of course, but just to give an idea of people a sense of what needs to happen between now and OCP Global Summit to be able to even have this kind of contest available. Then one of the ideas that has been discussed is, or mentioned, is that to be able to do a performance runoff in person. So there's like a live thing at OCP Global Summit where you kind of compare and contrast between the finalists, and then at OCP Global Summit, sort of on the demo floor, wherever it is, announce who the winner is. But that requires a lot of stuff, but this is kind of the timeline, try to get the contest rules out, how we do that. This is all TBD stuff. Provide the set of composable workloads by the end of July for people to know exactly what the target is going to be, as well as to make sure that we can shake out any issues that might exist in the infrastructure provided for the composable workloads, workload suite that we provide for this contest. Whether or not we have a closed division, how do we provide hardware for some of the people that may not have the hardware available in their lab, say an academic research institution, but perhaps have a colo or something, so that they can initially do the test, and hopefully what's provided in the colo reflects what would be in person at OCP Global Summit. Then there's got to deal with all the submissions, evaluate them, and select a number of finalists somehow through some scoring means. And then have the finalists present as well as demonstrate at OCP Global Summit. So any questions about the overall general idea here? Or if we should even try this?
One quick question, Brian.
Yes.
What workloads are you thinking of here? You were saying some virtual traditional CMS and some one new or something like that, right?
Yeah, and kind of goes to what, and a lot of Vikrant could talk a little more specifically, but there are some of the things that are going on within the composable workloads workstream right now. So looking at Redis, Apache Spark, compute stuff, as well as NARA's AI workload, and I'm sure I'm missing some other things that are in there, but that would be the baseline, if you will, for the workloads. And I'm thinking maybe we just allow the contest submitter to say, like, well, here's some other workload that we also may see benefit from.
Brian, this is excellent. This is awesome. Wonderful.
Yeah.
It is timeline is kind of hard to make all this happen. Yes. But even if the metrics are defined, even if the categories of competition are defined, which could be many, it could be system level, could be reliability level, could be performance level, could be software, could be total cost of ownership, could be any of those. It could, in other words, you could have several presents and awards you can provide.
Right. I would, initially CMAC focus on the performance stuff. And I don't want too many degrees of freedom, because it makes it too harder to judge everything, as well as increase the complexity, with an eye towards this is very ambitious to get this done for Global Summit, quite frankly.
And it's transparent only, or sorry, Manoj has his hand up, so I'll shut up.
Sorry. No worries. I think this is awesome because last year when we published our white papers, one of the main one was, and in fact even before that, when we started with the software defined networking before it became CMS, our goal was this, really, to make consistent representation of the workloads and have numbers come out through a well-published benchmarks. And we published those benchmarks last year, our first cut at it at least. And so even if you start from there and additionally add one more, those benchmarks and workloads are well documented in our white paper, which starts from the hardware to the software configuration, because we are using all the open source so far in the published ones. and the metrics that we are going to compare. So I think we have a very good start if Vikrant is online, or if not, you're talking to Vikrant already. I think that is a good part. Yeah, so that we can use that and we can start from there. I think this is awesome because it kind of completing the circle that where we started with. The reason we got with here is saying that hey, we want to have consistent workload representation so that systems can be tested. And I think this is one question I had though was, since it is called contest, I think, is there an expectation of prize or just an announcement that you won?
Well, that's an interesting question. And let me, I think for my expectation is that to give the academics some incentive to participate, it would be nice to have some sort of prize. Now, whether that's sponsored by OCP or some other sponsors, industry sponsors, that's TBD, but I've had some discussions with people in academia who think that a prize would be very helpful, as well as some sort of travel stipend for the finalists to OCP Global Summit. So there is a money component to it, but that's really TBD if that's even feasible if we want academic participation.
There are 42 people on the call today. Come on, pitch in $100 a piece. That's a big chunk of money.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I was thinking selfie with Manoj. That's a big deal.
Well, you're trying to scare people away, or trying to invite them?
That's right. Michael, why don't you go ahead? I'm going to go to my next slide because there's a lot of stuff and I just threw a bunch of things that, here's a bunch of issues. But Michael, why don't you go while I'll just throw this slide up there, and why don't you ask your question, Michael?
Yeah, just wanted to double click on the workload. Do we plan to have like a standardized tool or test suite for folks to use? Like you mentioned Redis as an example, but Redis has so many different parameters. So wondering what the guidance would be there. Yeah,
and I think that's one of the challenges is that to what extent and this is more to me a Vikrant question. So Vikrant, if I do answer it in a contradictory way to what you're thinking, let me know. But I do think there needs to be some validation of the workloads before we actually release them internally, such that we try to make it as turnkey as possible. Now, how realistic is that? I don't know. But to your point, some of the systems might be different and they might require some tweaks in the parameters and whatnot. Vikrant, I don't know to what extent. I don't think we've talked about it that much in the composable work streams.
I see that this concept is going to grow over years. During the first maybe implementation of it, you could maybe challenge people to come up with metrics. Somebody could write a paper on what matters, what could be or should be included as part of the metrics to be tested.
By the way, I didn't mean to cut in, but by the way, just please do. I posted our white paper that we published last year. This is where we started. Please do take a look at it. It has the first cut of benchmarks, workload, also the hardware and software configurations. Right, Vikrant?
Yep.
Okay.
And this is the
And we could that'd be a good candy part. So go ahead. Sorry.
So this is Sai from HPE, and again, I really like the white paper. I was looking at it last week, and the cache lib was really useful. So whoever asked about Redis, I would suggest looking at cache lib. It had a lot of JSON files to run it. It's quite stable. But on the spec benchmarks, right? I don't know if they're open source, because when I was looking at it, you need to buy it if you work for a certain company, or even for nonprofit universities. There may be an option, but wondering if there is a open source availability of those 3 benchmarks or 3 workloads that were highlighted under spec 2007 CPU benchmarks there. I know X264, that is available, part of Parsec, but rest of them I couldn't find. So that is one of the suggestions I would have, if there is no open source availability of those, to go towards open source.
So I would say just we can have a separate discussion again, maybe double click on that, but I would just suggesting that let's start using that, and maybe Sai, we can bring up a discussion on the spec and or maybe any other benchmark that we need to bring.
Right.
Thanks for sharing this. This is actually useful. I haven't seen this before, but yeah.
There's a lot of details there. So, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm seeing the JSON workload as well. It's good.
So Bijan, you had a question or comment?
Yeah. let me lower my hand, sorry. So, you know, I put together the hackathon, right, at the Global Summit. And all I was going to ask is, have you identified any resources that you could, you know, that you would want people to focus on? Or, you know, even just kind of a sandbox that you want people to kind of work within? Because if you ask a general question, you might get everything under the sky, and it may not be your intention.
I'm not sure what you, I mean, I think that's kind of what this is sort of a call for action to formulate that. You know, these two things, when you say sandbox, I'm not sure this is kind of a logical sandbox that exists in the context of CMS. So do you mean a different, you know, work stream or something like that? I'm not quite sure what you're
yeah, like when we do the hackathon, for example, we direct the contestants to focus on this year's case, it was AI and the edge, right? And so we identified a number of resources that they have throughout OCP and Linux Foundation and so on, that they could work with. Because in the past, when we ran this hackathon, there was a lot of responses for things that we had nothing to do with, and it was not within our areas of interest. And so that's the only, and it's a question. I'm not telling you to change directions or do anything. It's just a question.
Yeah, I mean, I think I understand where you're going. I do think it'd be useful to have a conversation about what your experience is with the hackathon, because I do think, you know, again, in this call to action, is like anyone who's run these kind of things in the past, there's a bunch of other issues, just even in terms of how do you submit, how do you notify, what resources are available in the context of OCP to support administration of this kind of contest that I think would be helpful, independent of what you just brought up, Bijan. So maybe you and I should have, and you know, anyone else that wants to may have initial conversation about how you structured your hackathon and what your learnings were in terms of overall process, and then if there's, you know, other things like that. I think the forcing function for this one is that it's mainly the OCP CMS composable workloads benchmarking, or whatever we're going to call it. That workload is going to be the determining factor here. So at least that puts some constraints around you know, what the workloads are. Now, whether or not someone wants to make Linux changes or library changes or firmware changes or whatever, you know, what we allow within the contest rules to specify, to give them the degrees of freedom with which to experiment. I kind of see those might be the places we have questions, but I suspect that most people will have experience in those areas too, maybe mistakenly. So that's kind of my overall thought, but I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you about your experiences in the hackathon. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's good.
All right, so that's all I had.
Brian,
again,
question for you.
Sure.
Do you have any of the companies lined up for this already? Did you actually approach them?
Initial email that has people from, you know, Pecon's involved, and there's a couple other people, one from Samsung, one from SK Hynix. It's going to get
okay. You do. Okay, that's very good.
You know, bigger project, because we have to include SOCs and stuff like that too, right? And so,
right.
But you know, it's kind of one of those things. You need to start small, get some thoughts solidified, and then add people. So, but this is a call for action. You know, there's going to be lots of constraints in time, and we're going to need, I'm under no illusion, if I go back to the previous slide, there's lots of stuff that we have to figure out. And
right.
And you know, and this is just off the top of my head kind of things, and I'm sure as we go through, we're going to figure out more stuff. So that's all.
The other question I have, Brian, is the workloads. At least the set of workloads will need to be aligned with the work stream.
Yes, and that's the point, right? The main focus, if I'm like, one of the things you need to determine for this thing is scoring. So if we do have a winner, how do we decide what the winner is, or who the winners are? And so you can imagine some sort of scoring system. I would say if I was weighting the scores of workloads, that the CMS workload weight is far greater than any individual workload that they might choose to highlight. Right. So something like that. But you know, the focus really is going to be how do you, and it's also going to be a good, interesting litmus test for our composable workloads, is how can you make these things faster, right? Within the context of, hardware, OS, whatever changes, to try to enhance that within a CXL environment.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, it's what the work that Vikrant's group is going to be kind of front and center as a part of this whole effort.
Awesome.
I haven't seen Nara online, but I'm sure with Vikrant, Nara can help from Meta side also for this one. I'm not trying to commit for him, but I'll talk to him. I'm hoping.
All right. Well, again, my email isn't the last thing. Just be around at Micron. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I'll start sending emails, and maybe I'll post it to CMS work stream, and we can have an initial discussion sometime next week, because we need to get moving on this.
This is awesome. Very exciting, Brian. I appreciate that.
And wish me luck, or wish us luck. It's very
no, definitely. We should make this. If we make this successful this time, this will be really awesome, because this will establish our long-term dream that we had for this one. So it's awesome. Hey, I know we have 9 minutes. Is Mohan online, or Brian, you're going to continue on that topic also? Let me see. Mohan is online.
No, I'm there. Yeah.
Mohan is there. Okay, awesome.
And I won't take long. I mean, I'll just take a minute. I don't know if I can share it. Yeah, let me know if you can see this. So I sent this out also to the group, just to give the context, right? HIPC is one of the most prominent systems conferences which is held in India, and this year it's being held in Bangalore from in December, I think around 18th to 21st or something like that. And there's a call for workshops which has come. So I was planning to propose fabrics, and especially with a focus on CXL, and try and see what the interest is around this in the community in India. And I wanted the basic help I wanted from this group is in terms of the India connections in the companies which are involved here. I mean, if people know who's working on CXL in India, or especially in Bangalore, in some of these in these areas. And the second part is, I think when we come to the actual program, we would need keynotes and invited talks kind of thing. So would there be interest in this group for somebody to be there at that event? I still need to figure out how the travel and all that works, but yeah, I just wanted to get some insight into whether people would want to help with this.
I can raise my hand in that.
Sorry, who's that?
This is Renu.
Okay.
We are actually working with CDAC in India to building these systems. We're looking at a couple of different fabric options, and probably a good timing to go talk and announce about it.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I'll contact you. So if you can send me a mail, I think I can get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can connect you also. Otherwise, you have more, unless in case you don't have Mohan's email.
Yeah, I got contact from. I mean, I got some contacts from Brian also from Micron, and I'm talking to them on Monday. So I think it's building up slowly. So this will be a proposal for the workshop, and I'll know by July whether it's accepted, and then we can.
We are doing two things that'll help. One is on the government research side, that's we're doing the systems, and actively, my company is going to launch a full AI HPC cloud service in India in the next 3 months. So sort of genuine relevant.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think I'll talk to you.
And also everybody whoever wants to participate, by the way, December is a great time to be in India. So please do support it.
Yeah. Thanks, Manoj. Yeah, that's all I had.
Awesome. All right. We had one more topic. Mohammed had presented CMA, and which is appliance, memory appliance, as well as the fabric manager for the fabric orchestration. I think the question Mohammed was, is there a contribution that you plan to do for submission completely from the system perspective? What we do is basically we do OCP. You can submit a full spec for the systems. and you can have that. And I think the memory fabric orchestration, I wanted to make sure that you're connected with Reddy, who is also doing from the overall work stream perspective for the DC memory fabric orchestration. And Vikrant, I don't know, you had missed this presentation also. There is a workload and profile information I wanted to connect you with Seagate. So within our work stream, what I wanted to connect Mohammed was the work fits into multiple ways. One is within the DC memory fabric orchestration. Perhaps you may want to see how CFM can be a part or significant contribution to that, because that work stream exists within CMS. And second one is basically from the workload perspective. This may be other way around, where you can perhaps use those workloads for demonstrating any capabilities during the innovation summit, if you're planning to participate in the innovation village during the global summit. Sorry, I misspoke. So
yeah,
I
think we're proposing multiple things that we can be in innovation summit. We can show a live demo, or but again, I think the aim here, or the target, is for us to collaborate on optimizations for the current CMA architecture and the CFM and the APIs. I'm wondering if should this happen under a sub-project or a work stream, or how do we work on getting everybody's feedback into the existing starting point, and establish a contribution that really brings all the feedback into fruition.
Yeah, Bijan is here also. He can perhaps also provide what you want is basically make sure that you have a room which has the most relevant feedback and contribution, right? That's what you want to have. Under server project, we have composable memory system is where most of the work is happening, and it has 4 work streams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 work streams. And I think you have that. This is why I was trying to split in the work in that. Your work in the systems perhaps fits into the memory systems and fabrics work stream. And essentially, you have a system ready, which you can create a specification with the OCP templates, and you should be able to bring it up for the discussion as an overall specification. There is a discussion for the workloads, and that you can have with under Vikrant's work stream within CMS, and then the fabric work. So within CMS, I think your work can fit in there. Beyond that, if you had thoughts about, okay, what else that maybe we don't have, and then you have specific work that can happen. For example, for cabling, there are different work streams that may have some specific cabling related feedback. Once you have the spec ready, I'm sure we can figure out how to do this more cross function and get it feedback from other activities, other groups under server or across the server. CMAC, I see your camera turned on. You have a point.
Yes, I'd like to add to that. Following the processes that we have within OCP for contribution, it is important contributions be provided with some license agreement. So I see that Seagate has done great, presented something, but Bijan is on the call. He can maybe guide us. Things need to provide some sort of a contributor license agreement. And then feedback that come in makes things better need to be accommodated with some sort of accompanied by some CLA as well. So to the extent that we would like to work in an open forum, open source hardware and software, that's a wonderful thing. But it needs to be clear what people can do with the contribution. So you give them license to do whatever you wish them to do. For that, we have some standard processes.
Perfect. Bijan, can you provide the guidance? I think what CMAC stated is exactly what I was looking for, but do we need to put that underneath a sub-project? Because it seems like it's a hardware solution that needs some work still, right? It's not complete. In my opinion, I think there could be some collaboration in various areas, including There's the CMI side of the API for container memory interface APIs. We came up with, we started with a Redfish API, but there's some work on the software side and as well as the hardware side, and it needs to happen before a full contribution is made, because I think if we do an early contribution, it will be a starting point. But we're willing to do a CLA, and if that's what it takes. But where do you guide us to? Should we work? I added John Stewie to this email that I sent yesterday, just because I think it would be like we started the extended connectivity work stream under server. Should we do the same, or should this be under the umbrella of CMS, because it does belong there as well? So what kind of guidance can you provide?
Okay, well, I think a couple of things. One is we probably, so I updated something called a system. There's a system template now in the templates library. And this system level template kind of allows you to define something that might span different domains, right? And that might be one, long-term option to kind of go down that path of defining a system level contribution. And then the idea is that behind the system level contribution is that then you would align different domains, like Stewie's guys would be doing the server piece and maybe the connectors, and then maybe there's other aspects, the storage guys are adding something to it or whatever. That's one option. The other option is that we should get together and discuss with all the PLs like exactly what it is that you have, from a vision standpoint, so that we can make sure that there's no work that's already been started in some of these areas, where if there has been, then we can just kind of federate it, if you will, and connect all the dots. So I think the next step is probably just a discussion with the relevant people, in my book.
If I may add to that, getting multiple people and multiple companies behind the idea will help as well. So you could have casual conversation with all OCP members about your intent and get alignment on that. So you have some sort of a baseline to have conversation with others.
So
yeah, he's absolutely right. And yeah, getting a kind of like a grassroots support from multiple parties is really does wonders around here.
I think we've established some, I've received quite a bit of support from various companies, and we can actually start a presentation that we can start mainly under, present this within the server group and see where it takes us from there.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, I think you should discuss it with the PLs and make sure there might be some interest that they can connect to you, right? They might be able to say, hey, we have this small group of people that are interested in the exact same thing. Here, join your effort or whatever. So, but I agree.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. I think we are 4 minutes past. Great discussion. Maybe. So the next steps, Mohammed, is that you're going to take it into the server project meeting discussion, or are we going to have an offline meeting and then close?
So I will take it into the server project, and I'll send also an email to kind of illustrate a little more details into the objective. I will start from a systems template for contribution, and we'll go from there. I think we will get some guidance. If we need the CLA, I'll work with Rob and Michael. Bijan, they're the right people, right?
Yep, sorry, I was on mute. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Mohammed. All right.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for today. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Happy Friday. Thanks.